What's going on, guys? I'm Brandon, founder of the TRT community and host of All Things Testosterone. We teach men, women, doctors, children, babies about all things testosterone and kind of walk with you guys through your TRT related struggles. That could be anything from finding a doctor to, protocols, questions that you have, that kind of thing. I've talked quite a bit in the past on the podcast or on YouTube or both about what kind of guy I was before TRT. And I just, that's kind of my message, and that's the most important part of TRT for me, Not to discount physical fitness at all. Obviously, physical health is important, but the mental aspect of things is really what gets me passionate and really what I relate to the best. So just want to talk a little bit about what I was before TRT and what TRT has done for me from a mental perspective. Before TRT, I was an anxious mess. I had anxiety, daily, and I wouldn't say that it was to the point to where I was paralyzed often, but it affected me every day, and I didn't realize it at the time. It affected me in social situations. I would avoid them. In my work, I wasn't very ambitious. I didn't have the drive to succeed, really. I was okay with just being a mid-level employee. And yeah, it was every day. It was anxiety, worried about everything. The kind of anxiety that a lot of people probably have, where like on Sunday, you're anxious all day because there's only one more day before you have to go back to work. That kind of thing, where you're counting the hours before it's time to go to bed, and then before it's time to get up and go to work. Same thing when you get home from work, when you're counting the hours before it's time for you to go to bed, before you have to get up and do it again. Just, not super debilitating anxiety, but definitely something that was there, that was present every single day. I really had no confidence. And I guess that kind of goes with the anxiety. I wasn't ever sure of myself. A practical example, remember when you were back in school and you were afraid to raise your hand and give an answer because you just assumed that it would be stupid or that you wouldn't be right. Kind of like that, but with most things, unless I knew a topic really, really well, I wasn't raising my hand and answering a question, whether that was in social circles or at work. Or even back to school. I was the kind of student that did not want to participate. I can even remember times where we would go out to, like a comedy bar or interactive theater of some kind, and I was just sweating because I was afraid that somebody was going to interact with me in some way. Probably one of the biggest areas that I struggled with is that I needed validation from other people. And if I didn't get it, the way that I felt was directly related to how others were treating me or how others were reacting to me. And, there are a lot of times where you don't get that validation, and then you're left with what? Your self-worth is zero because you're counting so much on other people to give you that value. So, either it leads to, having little to no value because other people aren't providing it, or it can lead to really serious scenarios, and you don't really think about how you're affecting others and how you're treating others and what you're doing. You're using them essentially to manipulate them into providing you with that value, and it's really damaging, not just to yourself, but you damage those people around you as well. That just kind of leads right into self-seeking, because I was willing to manipulate others to fulfill me. I'm seeking to please myself, self-centeredness, selfishness. All of that. It just made me, I was just not a good guy, not a good person. I was really impatient too. I didn't have a child at the time, but, with my wife or really just with friends, and outwardly, with my wife, I was impatient, and with friends, it was more of a silent, passive-aggressive frustration, impatience. Not something that I would voice because, reason one, I was too anxious to, confront someone with an issue. So it was just it displayed itself in passive aggressive behavior. Within a few weeks, maybe 8 weeks or so of starting TRT, I enrolled in college again. And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but that was really the first thing that I had done, looking back on it now, that I can think, wow, I quit school when I was 18 and it took until I was 30 to go back. That's not something that was even on my radar. But within 8 weeks, I felt this internal drive to learn, to be better, this motivation to do something. And I didn't even realize it, like I said, at the time. I didn't think anything of it. Just, told my wife, hey, I think I might go back to school. And yeah, so I did. Anxiety virtually gone. I'm a human, so I still worry about, finances occasionally and stuff like that, but I'm not counting hours before I have to go back to work. I'm able to do this kind of thing and not be nervous about it or anything like that. I'm a leader in my profession, my day job. I'm a manager. So yeah, it's totally different. Social circles. I'm a pretty funny guy, and I don't stress an abnormal amount about being put in social situations. But yeah, some things still worry me. I'm stressed right now because I've got a lot of laundry that I need to do, just normal stuff like that. But when I'm done with this, I'll go do the laundry and it's no big deal. I'm comfortable in my skin, I don't need others to validate me. I'm okay with knowing and even hearing when others disagree with me or when others don't think I fit or meet their expectations. I'm okay with that. If I don't meet your expectations, then that's not my issue. That's your issue. You're expecting something from someone that you probably shouldn't be. So I do my thing, and I'm into the mental health aspect of TRT, and I love it. And I'll continue to reach out to those guys that struggle with the mental health, the depression, the anxiety, that kind of thing, over and above the guys that just want to get ripped. I'm not in this game to focus solely on guys that lost their six pack. I'm in it to try to help guys save their own lives, and potentially be able to stop the SSRIs, the depression medication, the anxiety medication, because of this natural hormone and what it can do for you mentally and physically. And finally, the self-seeking, the needing other people's validation and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say that TRT was the only answer. There was a lot of stuff, there were a lot of things that I had to do outside of TRT to become a more patient, a kind, loving father and husband. But I will say that without TRT, I don't know that I would have ever taken the steps to get there, if that makes sense. TRT is not solely responsible for it, but it gave me the energy, the focus, the ambition, the drive to get a lot of things done that I would have never done without it. That's all. I just wanted to make a short video and mention those things. We'll be, for those of you that don't know, we have a podcast. We release episodes every Monday, and it's called All Things Testosterone, if you can't see the sign. But yeah, every Monday, and it's me and two guys, and we're not experts at anything. We just get on and we talk about certain testosterone topics or certain things that we've seen over the years, and we have a good time doing it. And if you want to judge us, you can, but if you rewatch this video, you'll realize that we don't really care. So if you're interested in a non-fourth wall breaking video podcast, subscribe to the channel. Go check us out on all of the podcast platforms. We've got some really, really big news coming in the next 30 days or so in regards to TRT. I've had big news a few times in the past. This might be The biggest, maybe the second biggest, I don't know, but it's going to be big. I think it's going to be it's a really great project that we're working on, and I think it's going to benefit a lot of people. So definitely follow us, and yeah, if you want to stay up to date.